Welcome back, Oisin Murphy, still alongside. Oisin, great to have you back in the Luck on Sunday studio. How's things? How is Oisin Murphy 2023 different to the Oisin Murphy that, well, certainly I spoke to a couple of years ago?
Well, I'm older. I have a few more wrinkles. I had a fantastic start to the season, Tom, and I really worked hard from probably last November, getting fit and riding out. Although even when I was off, I rode out and did a lot of show jumping and obviously watch racing. But
how was the weight in the time off?
I got to 10 stone, so I got heavy enough, but I didn't allow myself blow up to a point where I felt fat. I'm 8'10" today, and I have been doing some quite light weights, so I've been really focused on diet and fitness, but I've never worked harder in the mornings than I have this season, and I've been rewarded by winning the Kipco 1000 Guineas on Morge and winning the Commonwealth Cup on Shaquille, and obviously the Belmont Oaks on Aspen Grove 3 weeks ago.
Were you worried coming back, other than obviously the Qatar Racing horses, were you worried about the outside opportunities you were or weren't going to get, or not?
There's always self-doubt. I mean, even when you're riding at a very high level and riding winners every day, you're not certain that next week's going to be the same, or you can never think too far ahead. And we are really reliant on good horses coming along, and that's the same for trainers and jockeys. I was fortunate that Andrew Boulding really, his support was always very strong. I wasn't worried that he wasn't going to use me. I wasn't certain that I was going to come in for all his good horses and be first choice, but fortunately, apart from Chaldean, I have been, and I'm really incredibly grateful for those chances. It's a powerful stable. He was nearly champion trainer over the last couple of seasons, and it is going to happen one day. So to have that, or those pool of horses to ride, is massive.
On how you are riding at the moment, do you feel you're riding as well as ever? Because I know how self-critical you are and always have been. How do you assess how you're going at the moment?
Well, I had one winner at Royal Ascot. The last time I rode there...
So it was a good one.
Yeah, very, fantastic. Any Group 1 winner, but particularly the Commonwealth Cup, is a great feeling and the stuff of dreams. But the last time I rode at Ascot, I was leading rider. I had 6 winners, and this time round I had 6 seconds. Oh. So you have to reflect on that and see if you could do things differently. On reflection, I didn't get stuck wide on any horses. Even from tricky draws on the round course, I managed to find the rail or sit one off it. And I'd love to have had a winner for Sheikh Fahd. That really would have meant the world to me. His family attend the races, and Kipco are an official partner of Ascot, so it didn't happen, but he took it like the star he is, and will be back next year.
His support of you has been unwavering.
Yeah.
The operation is really branching out abroad, right? And Australia, America is at the forefront of his mind and Qatar Racing's mind.
Well, the thing is with prize money, if the horses aren't going to be stallions, particularly the male horses, it makes sense to allow people to buy into them to race in other countries, and that's what's happened, particularly with the horses going down under to Australia. Partners have come in and bought percentages of them, and they'll carry on their racing careers down there, and some of the horses in America can just run for much bigger pots in maybe less competitive races over there. So, it would be different if there were the next Roaring Lions or Kamikos, if they were going to be, superstars, but most horses aren't. And I can see Sheikh Fad's thinking, and with regards to number of young horses he has in training, we're probably at 80 in Britain, 10 in France, 20 in Ireland. So in comparison to the last 5 years, that's right up there with the most we've ever had. And if some young horses that I like pop up in the mornings that can be bought, Sheikh Fad will stick his hand in his pocket and buy those horses to race in Britain. So I know there is some chat about how his support of British racing currently is, but I can assure you that he still wants to have big winners every day. They're just hard to come by.
Talk to me about being champion jockey again. What are your immediate thoughts on where you stand at the moment?
My chance is probably gone. I fell foul of the stewards at Royal Ascot. I picked up from the Monday to the Friday, I think, or even Thursday, I picked up 15 days worth of suspensions. So
fairly?
Yeah, I broke the whip rules accidentally. People will say, how can't you count? How come you could count in your 500 rides from February 16 to Ascot week, and you couldn't count on Valiant King? But unfortunately, I had no idea that I went one over. I didn't make a conscious decision to give him an extra smack to try and win the race, and that's where I found it quite frustrating. But I just had to move on and try and use that time wisely, the 2 weeks off. So the other 7 days were for careless riding, and I was guilty of shifting into space. Just to touch on that Berkshire Shadow, I moved half a horse with into Hector Crouch, who was just falling back at the time, but I was guilty of it. But it was accidental.
Sure, but you accept that it was careless. And
the other 3 days was for Valiant King. I moved into Dan Muscat, who then moved into Holly Doyle. If Holly wasn't challenging, that wouldn't have been an issue. And the other 2 days was for Linkfield on a Monday. An apprentice, Liam Wright, went to challenge up my inside, and there was horses challenging on the outside. So this is all very boring stuff, but when it adds up, it's an incredible amount of time. When
you want to regain your champion jockey title.
The jockey title, I missed the July Cup. I missed the winner of the July Cup for the 3rd year in a row. So those things are really hard to swallow, but I'm big enough and old enough now. You know, missing 15 days is not like missing 14 months. So we just move on.
So I think you're about 16 behind in the championship. Surely it only takes William Buick to fall foul of the rules and get a certain amount of days. You have a good week, you're back in with it, or have you checked out of it?
No, I'm still going to be riding, as many races as I can, and trying to ride to the highest level I can. But William's been riding consistently at a top level throughout the whole year, and for the however many years, and he's managed to stay out of the stewards' room. And the other guys that are in contention at the moment, Holly and Tom, they've managed to do the same thing.
Do you think that is now more than ever part of being a champion jockey, is about riding as many of the fastest horses you can, but also staying out the stewards' room because of the length that the bands are now at the big meetings? Does that have to be inbuilt within you now if you're going to be champion? He who has the least suspensions, almost, if it's a battle at the top, or she is more likely to come out on top at the end of the year?
Well, I think statistically, normally in July I'll ride anywhere between 30 to 40 winners, and this July I think I've ridden 6 in Britain. We'll have to check that, but that isn't good enough to be champion jockey, and I only have myself to blame for putting myself in that position. If I had ridden to my normal level in July, then I'd be in front in the Jockeys' Championship.
I remember speaking to you at the back end of the season when it was going down to the wire, and I remember reflecting on that and thinking, when you were coming back this year, well, surely he's not going to try and be champion jockey again because of the pressure it puts on you. But you were straight back in riding loads of horses. So do you feel you need that challenge, or was there a part of you coming back thinking, hey, do you know what? Let's just take it steady first year back?
No, there was no taking it steady. You know, I was very lucky that Hugo Palmer put me on Flaming Rib, one of the first big meetings back, and he managed to win. And George Bowie entrusted me with top rides in Saudi Arabia, and I didn't manage to win on them, but that gave me the confidence to really believe in myself and think, you know, whatever happened over the past couple of years is behind me, and just look forward.
Was there self-doubt coming back?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You don't strike me as that sort of person. You're very self-critical with your riding, but I can't really imagine you coming back with any self-doubt about ability, if you like.
Oh, no, there was plenty of it. You know, will my instinct be the same? Decision-making, obviously I can't be as sharp without race riding and without regular practice, but will that sharpness that I thought I had come back? You know, there are some times when I'm riding like lots of winners, maybe a treble on a Saturday and a treble again Sunday, or I go through periods where I think I can win on anything. But there are definitely periods where I'm down at the start and I'm thinking, well, I'll give you an example, Tom. You know, when I went into the stalls on Galley yesterday, I wasn't 100% sure of how will I ride him and will that be the right thing. And
But that's instinct, right? That's where you've got to rely on.
No, but sometimes that thought process won't even come into my mind because I'm that full of confidence. I feel like it won't matter how I'll ride him, and whatever decision I'll make will be the right one. He ran away with me at the Royal meeting. The last thing, you know, Saeed or his team probably expected me to do was to lead. But they allow me to make any decision that I feel fit. And when he came out of the gate, well, actually on the way to post, I got the feeling that he might settle in front. And when he came out of the gate and no one was going forward on my inside, and I knew I'd have to fight with him to get behind and get cover, I was happy to lean a little left, allow him to prick his ears and control the race. And you know, that's all quite serious thinking for a handicap, but that is my thought process.
OK, so Shaquille would be... I'm interested in what was the better ride from your point of view. Sorry to bang on about missing the July Cup, but the July Cup winning ride or your winning ride at Ascot, what do you think, if you can, you know, sort of separate yourself from the two? Because they were quite different, given how you approached the race at Ascot, really let him come into the race, where he was in front much longer in the July Cup. What do you think was the better ride?
You're
not going to say yourself, are you? But they were very different rides, but I thought they both in equal measure, they were brilliant for different reasons.
Yeah, firstly, I suppose I felt very privileged to get on the horse. You know, he is practically unbeaten, apart from blowing out in the Acom as a 2-year-old over 7 furlongs. You know, he's been foot perfect, and when he reared up in the stalls and missed it a couple of lengths, my hand was forced to just gradually creep forward and get onto the back of the field. And of course I know from experience at Ascot that if I made a move from halfway, it would have been very difficult to win, you know, because you're climbing all the time. And yeah, I just tried to time it properly, and even approaching the furlong pole, I didn't panic and pick my stick up and say, giddy up. I allowed him to gradually get to the front.
But did you get off and think, that was good?
No.
You must have known that you were going to get a lot of plaudits for it, given how it panned out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always very nice. But, you know, remember, it's the end of the week or towards the end of the week, and I had hit the crossbar plenty before it. So I was just very grateful to partner a horse of that class. You know, it's good as well because he's a homebred. He's out of a Galileo mare by Charm Spirit. He's going to be a stallion. So, you know, I love riding those sort of quality animals.
It seems the other notable difference, I think, with you persona-wise now, it feels like you're doing, or certainly were when you came back, a little bit less media, a little bit less social media. Has that been a conscious decision?
A little bit, perhaps, but I don't feel like I'm probably not as outgoing maybe as I once was. I'm very happy sitting at home with my partner Lizzie and you know, having a chilled evening, whereas in the past I maybe had in my mind that life is short and I really need to maximise, or we as people should maximise our time on earth, and now I'm more chilled. I mean that because I'm 27 rising 28, but I know that my riding career could be stopped short at any time, and you know, we have to value each day.
It sounds like you feel now, or you realise now, you're fallible. You're not invincible.
Absolutely.
And maybe you've taken that into account, and that is how you're approaching riding and life now in comparison to, say, a few years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I really missed race riding when I wasn't able to, and I had to take stock of that. And I obviously enjoyed show jumping. I was very lucky to still ride out for lots of the trainers I normally ride for, from Andrew to Michael Bell to Ed Walker, Archie Watson, Said Bin Sarur, everyone really, John Gosden, everyone welcomed me in. Rafe Beckett, although he hasn't given me any rides, yeah, they welcomed me, and I suppose I was lucky to be part of that, but it was hard watching it in the stands, Tom.
I bet it was. Is the show jumping a hobby, or is it a bit more serious than that?
It's my riding part of it is a hobby, although I want to ride well, but my ownership is a little bit of an investment idea. I'm fortunate that Richard Howley rides my horses. He's one of the best riders in the world. He's probably ranked in the top 150 at the moment, but he's a kind of trading stable, just because financially that's how he makes it work. Ireland have a number of fantastic riders at the moment, young and old, and the Aga Khan at Dublin Horse Show is coming up, and I hope we'll be in a prime position to try and lift that trophy.
Where does that passion come from then? Is it just the horse, or I don't know about you growing up, was show jumping on your agenda? Or
well, I was lucky that my mum and dad drove me around the country jumping ponies as a child, and I read books and wrote to the Army Equitation School when I was very small, and all the guys that I idolised, Marcus Aining and Billy Toomey, Michael Whitaker, these guys I get to sit and have dinner with now at shows, so I kind of have to pinch myself sometimes. But yeah, I love jumping, and the trading point of view interests me, actually a little bit in racing as well, but certainly in show jumping.
It is extraordinary to think just how long you've been riding, and yet you're only 27.
May 2013.
That's a proper... I know that a lot of people have been running for that long, but you have been at the top of the sport or in the public eye and really immersed in the sport for such a long time, bursting onto the scene and then trying to maintain that.
Yeah, I rode in the Epsom Derby in 2014 for Ed Dunlop.
What was the horse?
Red Galileo.
Oh, yeah.
So when people ask me, do I get nervous before Group 1s, the honest answer is no, because I've been getting beaten in them from such a young age, or are really dreaming about winning and it not happening. So so no, Tom, the time's absolutely flown by, and I really savour the big race victories. It meant a lot winning the Belmont Oaks 3 weeks ago out there for Fozzie Stack, and the horse was prepared by my friend Mark Enright, who's just stopped riding, and he told me she'd win, and the way she travelled through the race, it was never in doubt. So those sort of wins are really fantastic.
The white blaze coming through the middle, right?
Yeah, my saddle is in the perfect position here, but late on, I'm quite happy with how I look at this point. But late on towards the line, I look a little bit more agricultural, and my saddle just slips back.
I would never pick up on that. Why?
You can see here, just crossing the line, my lower leg. My lower leg is like back behind me, and yeah, the saddle just slips kind of a little bit further back than ideal.
Wait, sorry, is that you doing that?
No,
when you say the saddle's come, so that's the saddle move slightly, which affected your position. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's a daughter of Justify, who is all the rave at the moment. Obviously, City of Troy, bolted up at Newmarket, and you know, that Scat Daddy line is becoming very influential in world racing through No Nay Never, and now this guy.
Is he just going to win the Guineas next year, do you think, or is it a bit early to say?
I was very impressed with Richard Hannon's horse yesterday, Rosalion. I was blown away by him, really. I think Age of Wisdom is a good yardstick as well. The Charlie Appleby horse in third, albeit he might be physically immature and be a horse that we'll see in a much better light in a couple of months' time. But I thought it was a strong renewal of the race.
I want to ask you about Sunway, who you rode, which I missed you riding because I was in here, obviously not covering it. But I was blown away by him at Sandown. Didn't work out yesterday.
No, all the signs were positive. I'd sat on him at home in between races, and you know, sometimes horses aren't machines and they underperform, and that's certainly the case for him. He seems healthy, and hopefully he'll bounce back.
It's nice having you in here because you're incredibly easy to get words out of and speak to. Like, I feel like you could just be thrown anything, and do you enjoy this side of it, or not as much as you used to, or?
Well, I love racing, and I love the pedigree side of it, and I think deeply about how races unfold, and maybe how they're going to unfold. And you know, if we just look at Sunway, he's a full brother to Sealaway.
Yeah.
The way he felt before his debut and during his first start, it was a no-brainer for Qatar Racing to try and buy into him. And I'm not disheartened with yesterday's performance, I think.
Did he feel different? I mean, in the build-up to the race, obviously during the race, yes, but...
No, he just felt like a horse that was very professional and was kind of everything I'd hoped he would be. But yeah, the likes of him, I think, will bounce back. And you know, there are lots of horses that I'll sit on in the morning and think they're nice horses without being superstars. And then every now and then you sit on one that is a little bit different level, and
he was one of those
close to it anyway. You know, I'll give you a few examples, but Ben Battle, when I rode him after his first start at Doncaster, I thought he was very good. Kamiko, you know, those sort of animals, alcohol free.
Any we haven't seen yet? Any that you've sat on and gone, when they come out, they're going to be very smart?
Yeah, but we won't jinx them, Tom. It's not really fair. But I will say, having the backing of the Judmont horses in Andrew Boulding's stable is really very special, and something that that I'm very proud to be associated with, and I know Andrew is like very grateful to Barry Mann and everyone in that Judd management.
Great stuff, and not riding today, so you could probably get 3 or 4 episodes as a session later on.
Yeah, I'd prefer to be riding today.
Yeah.
Important Group 1 in France. I'd be delighted if my friend Rob Hornby wins on Remarque.
I hear you. Oisin, thanks ever so much for your time.
Thank you, Tom.
Subscribe to Racing TV's YouTube channel now to watch more great races like this.